Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our weekly sermonette. I stressed the sermonette part. Somebody told me recently, he says, Rabbi, that's not a sermonette, that's a sermon. So we're going to keep it a bit shorter this week. The topic today is Jewish joy. I never saw anybody who says, oh, the rabbi's sermon was too short this week. So we want to give everybody joy, so we'll keep it a little bit shorter. This week's parsha talks about bikurim. Bikurim were the first fruits that a person had to bring to the temple, that if somebody planted anything and it grew in the land of Israel, then he would have to, when it would start to bud, his fruits, his figs, his vines, whatever he had to mark them and say, this is bikurim, this is first fruit. And then later, once they would ripen, he would take them and bring them to Jerusalem. There's a very interesting, first of all, the primary concept of the idea of bikurim is to never become ungrateful. We have to recognize that even though we plant and we till and we sow, but it's ultimately all of our blessings come from God, and we have to show it. So that is what bikurim is all about. But there was a very interesting detail. It says, Ki savo ala aretz, that's the name of the parsha today, Ki tavo, when you come into the land. And that's how the parsha starts with this particular mitzvah. So it says that you would bring bikurim, but there's a very interesting nuance about this commandment, that actually when the Jews entered into the land of Israel, they didn't bring the bikurim. They weren't obligated to bring the bikurim until the land was completely settled. It was only after 14 years. It says that for 7 years they fought to conquer the land, and it took another 7 years for everybody to settle it. And only once everybody across the whole land of Israel was settled, then did we bring the bikurim. And the question is why? Why doesn't our Yidel, who, happened to get his land much, much earlier, many years earlier, and thank God in his part of the land it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's settled, and he worked his land and he gets his first fruit. Why doesn't he have to show his gratefulness to be able to bring these fruits to Yerushalayim? Why does he have to wait until all of the land is settled? So there's a verse that is mentioned together with this mitzvah, and it says, "V'samachta b'chol hatov asher nasan lecha Hashem Elokecha," and that you should rejoice with all the good that the Lord your God has given you. So, in order to be able to fully really experience the joy of one's own blessing, a Jew must know that his brothers and sisters have been blessed as well. And as long as one Jew knows that there are other Jews still suffering, that he has not yet been settled in his land and things are not yet settled for him, he cannot truly, fully be content. So since simcha, joy, was a necessary component of this mitzvah, that you have to bring it with full, true joy, otherwise the mitzvah is not complete. So therefore one wasn't obligated to do so, knowing that there are still, our brothers and sisters are still fighting, and knowing that they are not yet enjoying their land and their fruits, that should be lacking in our joy, and therefore he couldn't bring this mitzvah in the proper manner. I'm reminded of a story. I remember reading in the memoirs of the previous Lubavitch Rebbe. Previous Lubavitch Rebbe was a prolific writer, and in 1927, he was arrested by the Soviets for teaching Judaism and for having a whole underground educational system. And originally, he was sentenced to death. After that, through a lot of pressure from outside, from other countries, United States as well, his sentence was reduced to 3 years in Siberia, which is also almost like a death sentence. And at the end, he only served 9 days in the Soviet prison. But he writes prolifically about that experience. And he engaged the guards, the officers, in conversation while he was there. And one of the guards, a particular cruel individual who just enjoyed beating the prisoners, once told him that when he beats a prisoner and he sees the joy of the suffering, he gets so much joy in the suffering of the prisoner that when he does that, he actually doesn't have to put sugar in his coffee or tea because he gets so much, it really sweetens it, just the joy of seeing the other individual suffer. You know, such was a vicious anti-Semite, but a Jew must experience the reverse reaction, that we should not be able to enjoy our tea. We should not be able to enjoy our first fruits knowing that our fellow Jew is still unsettled. The sweetest fruits should go bitter in our mouth, feeling the need of our brethren. So just to conclude, this is a time, month of Elul is a time for reflection. As we go into the new year, we should really think about where we are, the gratefulness that we have to have for everything that we do have. And at the same time, we have to realize that, you know what? I can't be completely happy if there are others that are lacking, others that don't have what I have. So if I have a job, I should think of somebody who doesn't. You know, if thank God I was able to find my bashert, think of those that don't. If I'm, thank God, be able to live my Yom Tov that's coming up, the new year, I'm not so worried. I can put food on my table. I can buy nice clothes. Think about those that don't have that opportunity and let's see if we can help them. But as Judaism and the Rebbe has always taught us, not just physical needs, but also the spiritual needs. If I'm going to shul, think of someone who's not going to shul. We are in a very confused and a little challenged time. So therefore, you know, maybe if you think of somebody who, you know, a lot of people are on the fence. They don't know what to do for these upcoming high holidays. So obviously, we at Chabad here in Memphis, but all over, there are many different options. There's many outdoor events where one can go if one doesn't feel comfortable to come inside the shul. Then there's going to be shofar blowing, yisker, and other things happening outdoors so everybody can feel comfortable to be able to come to whatever they're able to do. So let's think of those that maybe a phone call, find out if they have their needs, if they're taken care of, if they need maybe some assistance. Sometimes they don't feel comfortable calling the rabbi. You can call the rabbi and be the intermediary to make sure that everybody's needs are taken care of. And the merit of this, please God, may we have to be able to really quickly and this year merit to be able to once again bring Bikurim in the Beis HaMikdash where nobody should be lacking anything and we should be able to have true Jewish joy instead of everybody saying, oi. We should be able to really know what it means to be a Jew and put that J in front of it. And we should all be merited with true joy, happy, healthy, and a sweet new year for the coming year to come. Shabbat Shalom. Look forward to seeing you all very, very soon.